Best family game. Nintendo, what did the money not go through to Jeff's account? What happened? There's some non-Nintendo games in here.
I like that the picture for party animals is just a crocodile with some shades.
Yeah, and it's getting my vote just for that. There you go. Well done. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan. Joining me, as always, are my good friends Kyle
Hello.
and Hunter. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
Little sleepy boy waking up from his nap now. Little baby boy, he's woken up.
I did.
You know, Hunter, it's just unacceptable behaviour. You know, we know we run a tight ship here. We run a professional podcast, and you know, I just think it's hilarious because me and Cal were sitting here, we were just chatting, and we just instantly knew. You know, when you just like you instantly like Hunter's fell asleep, hasn't he? He's just not here. There's only one answer. He's fell asleep.
We saw him go offline on Discord. I checked PlayStation. He wasn't on there. I'm like, he's gone, dude.
Dude, it's like,
He's not
it's like
coming back.
friend's not answering his phone. It's like call his mum, all the stuff. He's like, yeah, check PlayStation. Is he online on Discord? No, he's asleep. There you go. Problem solved. We'll see if he wakes up.
What I want to know is, how did you manage to fall asleep in your chair? Like, not even the bed, just the chair.
I don't know.
Pretty easily, apparently. Yeah. I think Hunter's one of those people that I envy, right? It's like when you're on like a
Yeah.
long haul flight or something and you just see the fucker in the corner of your eye that just manages to sleep the entire like 10-hour flight, just completely
That's me.
comatose, knocked out in the most
Yep.
uncomfortable chair possible, just instantly asleep for the whole time. You're like, how did they do it? Because I can't sleep even in my bed at a regular
Yeah,
time.
same.
How can people just like literally, like, you know, when people are in class or whatever, just fall asleep? Like, how? I
God.
envy you so much.
I
But we're
don't
not
get it,
here.
dude.
We're not here to talk about Hunter's miraculous sleeping abilities. We're here to talk. Well, I guess we technically are if the Game Awards sucks this year. But we're here to talk about Game Awards. It's been a couple of weeks, but we're finally here with our predictions for everything. So, if you were here a couple of weeks ago, you will have seen that we predicted the nominations. This week, we are going to predict the winners and some reveals. And next week, it's our classic review episode where we talk about if it sucked or not, which I do want to give Jeff credit. Last year, we were pretty positive on the whole. So,
Last year was the best one.
It can only go down.
no, Kyle, it's to be optimistic, okay? It was like, come on,
No.
Jeff, I believe. So we're going to go through
It'd be a
each
good
one.
show if it was an hour shorter.
How dare you? I'm fine. I've got it. I've got the day after off this year. I don't care as much. I'm fine. I'm in for the ride. But yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for each category. Timestamps are down below. We're gonna talk about the nominations. We're gonna compare them to what we predicted the nominations were gonna be. I hope one of you has that spreadsheet open so you can read what we predicted that they were, so that it's easier for me, so we can keep everything clear for all the video listeners. And if you are on audio, we are showing everything on video as well. So if you want to hop over to YouTube, come on over. Come and see our faces and come and look at everything. It might make it a bit more easier. It might make it easier to keep track of everything because we're going to be saying a lot of names of video games this week. But we're going to compare what we thought was going to be predicted, what did, and then we're going to each pick a winner. And then we'll see. We'll do what we do every year, where we keep a tally and we'll have a winner by the end of it of who won, who got the most stuff right. It'll be a lot of fun. I don't remember who won last year. Who did win last year?
I don't know, man. I never.
Oh, it was you,
remember.
Hunter. You won last year.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you won last year. Then I won the year prior, and then I think we tied this in the first year. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a fun
It's
one.
all to play for.
It's all to play for. But yeah, if you're new
That
here,
means
welcome to the
it's
show.
Kyle's turn to win.
Then maybe. We'll see.
Dude, I've been saying that all year. When's it going to be Kyle's turn?
Maybe next year, Carl. Maybe next year. But yeah, it's the HGO podcast. We're every Monday at around 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK time on podcast services everywhere, and a little bit later on youtube.com/hotgamersonly. Bit of housekeeping. We are getting into the December. Well, we are in December. Happy Christmas, happy holidays. We're getting there anyway. On the website for the next couple of weeks, I think it's starting next week. We're going to be putting all of our Game of the Year stuff on there, so it's going to be week by week. It'll be Kyle, then it'll be Hunter, then it'll be me, and then we'll do a big what is the HGO Game of the Year thing. It's all going down on the website. We haven't got a date for it yet. We'll let you know next week, but it should all be coming out on there, so you can go and check that out. Cal's already done his because he's a good boy. Me and Hunter, not so good. I've literally have been
About
sitting
a game
there.
I'm playing.
Yeah, I'm sitting there for like I've been sitting there like for a couple of hours at night, just looking at my list and going, okay, how do I order these? Because literally, if I look at it one day, I'll be completely feeling something completely different towards different games. It's very bizarre, but we'll get through it. We'll get through
I'll
it.
tell you this: mine was unordered except for number 1.
Mm. And I'll tell you this: that I will make mine ordered, and you will like it. I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna kill my
I mean,
I'm
you
gonna,
do you, man.
you know, you gotta kill your favorites, dude. Just like yes.
If
We'll
you want
see.
to make the process harder, go for it.
I love a challenge, Kyle. I love a challenge. Um, But yeah, other than that, obviously podcasts are going to be going live every Monday as normal through the holiday season, so don't worry about that. And thank you for your support as always. Let's get started with best game direction. We don't start with game of the year here because we like to keep you on the edge of your seats. So we're going to start with game direction, and we're going to do everything and wind ourselves all the way back around to game of the year by the end of it. So I'll switch over to this scene here. Best Game Direction, awarded for astounding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. And the nominations this year are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, Kyle, what were our predictions for this one? What did we think was going to be nominated?
For us, we had Baldur's Gate 3,
Okay.
Tears of the Kingdom,
Yep.
Alan Wake 2,
Yep.
FF16, and
Okay.
Resi 4 Remake.
So 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
That
Not
ain't
bad.
bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Trust me, some of them are worse. So you know,
Wonder at one point, but decided not to.
I think we all. I think mainly me because I think I was pushing the narrative as the only person that played Mario Wonder. I think we were all underestimating how much people simp 2D Mario. I feel like I was like, yeah, people can't be that stupid to put Mario in front of some of these, but they did, and it's a good game. I can understand it, but game direction, I don't think there's anything that Mario Wonder really does in terms of game direction that any other 2D Mario hasn't done in the past, other than the wonder mechanic, which is just fancy graphics during a level. I'm like, it's weird. How are you guys feeling on this category? Because I think it's between, well, this is a hard one for me. I think this could go a number of different ways. I don't know about you guys.
So this category is fun because it's one of those ones where if you read the little thing that it talks about right underneath the title of the category, and then try and apply it, it will probably lead you to a different result than what I actually think is going to win. Because I think
What do you
Alan
think is going
Wake
to win?
2 is going to
What?
win.
Yeah, I'm also pretty certain that Alan Wake 2 is going to win this one.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, here's the thing, right, is Tears of the Kingdom is going to be an interesting one as we have these discussions, because it's like, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. And I think Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3 is a fantastic RPG. It's an exceptional RPG.
Yeah.
But I always think that this kind of category goes to the more quirky things, the more kind of, oh, this is new, this feels fresh. And Baldur's Gate 3 is just like an incredible RPG.
It's just
But
the most polished you could possibly make one of those games.
But when you compare it to Alan Wake 2 and Tears of the Kingdom that are doing more kooky stuff in the corner, where they're like, look at my stupid build mechanic that's got the worst controls in history, and oh, look at me blending live action and all this other jazz into a weird, really well-executed horror game. I don't think Baldur's Gate takes it. I do think this is between Alan Wake 2 and Tears of the Kingdom. And I feel like Alan Wake 2 has just got
Alan
that
Wake
kind
2
of itch from
takes
the
edge here, because like games like this that are always more like the more art house kind of thing, I feel like if you will take this category more often than not. Like, the name of the game's director, or most people who at least watch a trailer or something from the for Alan Wake 2 will know.
Well, everyone knows.
Game made by Sam Lake, blah blah.
Yeah,
blah.
everyone knows Sam because he plasters his face in the game as well. Like, it's like, we know, sir. Like, he's a good guy. We like him, but yeah, I think it's Alan Wake 2. if I was to pick one of these, I think that despite its awful, awful controls, it's still one of my favorite games of the year. Because I'm voting, by the way. I forgot to say, I'm doing my votes live while we're doing this, because why not? Kill two birds with one stone. I'd give my vote to Tears of the Kingdom, personally, because of the amount of
Yeah,
creative
I
ways
can agree with
that
because
um
the way that
that
the
game
game
innovated.
works
Yeah, because
is incredible.
it is when we talk about game of the year, it is a sequel to Breath of the Wild, and it does take away some of that kind of special that special feeling that comes with it. But also it was just so creative, and the amount of stupid stuff you can do in that game, and all the Twitter clips that I saw, and like, my gosh, it's incredible. I'd be happy if either of them won, to be honest. Perfectly
Yeah.
fine with either, but my vote goes to Tears of the Kingdom, definitely. Right. Cal, did you say which one you were going to pick?
I'm taking Baldur's Gate.
Oh,
I just
controversial.
don't know it. I just don't know enough about Alan Wake to say one way or the other.
So you see, neither do I, Cal, but you just have to, sometimes you just have to
No, I
kind of,
literally know nothing about Alan Wake.
well, you see, I don't know too much other than, like, I've seen bits and pieces of gameplay. I've seen some live action stuff. I've obviously seen the big musical number that was going crazy on Twitter. I've seen stuff like that.
That scene.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff. I can't.
But
I hope they do that at the award show.
That somehow skipped me by, dude.
yeah, but sometimes, sometimes, Kyle, you just got to step into the room. You kind of just got to get a vibe, you just got to kind of walk in the room and go, okay, how are you guys feeling about this? Oh, you're really vibing with this. You got to try to read the room a bit, because you don't get people starting on Alan Wake 2. It's a very much a review darling. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Next up is Best Narrative, I believe.
Yes.
For astounding storytelling and narrative development in a game, your nominations are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, fucking hell, Ethan, Cyberpunk 2077, there we go, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel Spider-Man 2. Right, before we talk about what we picked, right, I just want to say that I think we did say that Spider-Man 2 would get a nomination here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Did we say 16 got a nomination here?
We had Final Fantasy 16, Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, and Starfield.
So I think the only reason that we didn't pick Cyberpunk, or I wasn't even contemplating Cyberpunk, because in my head I'm still of the opinion of expansions don't get nominated for awards.
Yeah, same. And
which I'm still kind of iffy on Cyberpunk getting the nom here, because I'm like, this is an expansion, this isn't a brand new game. And I think there are other games this year that could have easily have had that spot. So it feels a bit weird. I also think it's really, really funny that how I feel about some of these games, because it's like, especially these last two, Final Fantasy 16 and Marvel Spider-Man 2, I think both have I think they both have kind of pacing issues where I'm like, I love the first half of both of these games a lot. And I like the ending of Spider-Man quite a bit, but Venom is so rushed. Like, honestly, like, genuinely, they just kind of, to the point where it kind of feels like I just don't like the way that final act works in Spider-Man 2. I just don't gel with it all.
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy 16, oh, me and Kyle, we have talked about the pacing of that game. Like, when we're talking about Game of the Years, I'm sitting there and going, man, if you chopped off the second half of Final Fantasy 16, I genuinely think that the first half of Final Fantasy 16 would probably be my Game of the Year if it didn't have that second half to it. I think, my gosh.
I think FF16 story is at its best when it is doing like Game of Thrones, that sort of Game of Thrones
when it's about character, when
narrative.
it's not about beating God. Yeah, as soon as Ultima gets introduced, the fun goes away.
See, I'll take it one step further, Ethan. Once Sid is out of the story, I think that's when it goes down.
Well, you see, it's practically the exact same scene, Kyle. It's practically the exact same scene. So, But I agree. I think that's exactly when it cuts forward. I think that's the exact issue. And when they're talking, I don't know if you saw the clip about the quote about for Final Fantasy 16 DLC, that it's 2 parts, and it mentions It's two. There's two stories, and they're both featuring Clive. So it's all Clive stuff. So that's the two things. And it says what I think he said something along the lines of one's a mystery, and the other one reveals some things about. So I'm like, one's going to be in that time gap between those 10 years, and the other one might be after the game. We'll see what happens, right? But I'm sitting there and going, you know what I really wanted out of Final Fantasy 16? More padding. Like I needed more of that. No, it's
More of
bizarre.
Clive.
Uh, Baldur's Gate 3 is interesting because I think Baldur's Gate 3, you hear obviously again a lot of love for that game, but I also hear constantly about the kind of roller coaster of quality that narrative goes on, where the game's like great the whole way through, but some people
Yeah.
do not jive with Act 2 and 3 as much as Act 1. So I'm wondering if that'll put some people off giving it the vote here.
So I haven't gotten to Act 3 yet, but as far as Baldur's Gate, I think it's one of those games where the actual story there present is pretty standard, I guess, just kind of a
Yeah.
fantasy thing.
Yeah.
Set up with you get your general stakes introduced and you go, and the fun of it there is just interacting in the world with your character rather than the narrative that is being told so much.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely a lot more character driven than narrative driven.
How would you say, what do you think what do you think of the narrative of Alan Wake 2, Hunter? Because again, Alan Wake 2, again, a game absolutely loved. Some people really don't like the end. That's what's interesting about all of these, is you have 5 games here where one's an expansion and the other 4 have good, like, great narratives. Some of them incredible narratives at points, but they're all like we're not sitting here. We don't have.
There's no constant.
There's no Red Dead Redemption 2. There's no God of War. There's no Last of Us here, where you just go like, where someone's going, man, what a fucking narrative. You're just going like, these are some really good narratives, but man, there's a bit of a roller coaster here.
Alan Wake's only thing is like, I don't think the ending of the game was bad or anything. It just kind of came together a little quickly near the end.
Which is what Spider-Man did as well, where you sit there and you go,
yeah.
how are they going to wrap this up? And it's like,
the difference
really
there
half-handedly in like
I
30 seconds.
I didn't have a whole alternative thing for Alan Wake to go, man, it would have been better if they had done it that way.
I think Cyberpunk is here for a reason. And I think it's either going to be Baldur's Gate or Cyberpunk. I'm going to go that I think it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's either, or it could be Alan Wake. I personally, like I said, I hate the second half of Final Fantasy 16 from a narrative perspective, but if you were to ask me what my favorite narrative from a video game is this year, then I would say it's the first half of Final Fantasy 16, because everything about it, man, with Jill, with Sid, with Clive, I'm like, those 3 and that whole first half is so good. I was literally addicted to the game where I couldn't put it down for that first half. It's so solid.
Yeah. The first half does a good job of setting up a lot of things, but there's just no payoff for them in the second half.
No, not at all.
Not really.
But so that's why. But like I say, first half's so good that I'll give it my personal vote. But I'm gonna go with Baldur's Gate. That's gonna be my guess for this one as a win.
My prediction, I'm going to give to Alan Wake for this one.
Kyle, how are you feeling?
I'm also going to give it to Alan Wake.
See, now you're getting it. Now you're feeling the vibes. Now you're dipping your feet in the you're dipping your feet in the pool, going, "Oh, okay, yeah." I see it. I see it. Like I say, I think it's some of these are really hard. I feel like it could be a coin flip.
Yeah, my main point of contention was between Alan Wake and FF16, and thinking about the way that people responded to it. A lot of people have the same kind of misgivings with FF16's story that you've expressed, where it gets not as good once it veers away from the political fantasy story.
I just love politics and games, unlike everybody on Twitter, dude. That's what I
and Alan Wake, even if the ending came together kind of quickly, people still liked a majority of the story, it seems. So
yeah, no, fair enough. Right, next up, on our list, our very, very long list, is Best Art Direction, which is
I'm
for
just gonna say
outstanding. What's up?
we missed the mark so hard on our predictions here.
Oh,
Oh,
can't
yeah,
wait. Let's hang on. Let's go. Best art direction for outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. The nominations are Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Which I think the only one that doesn't really. If I was to throw one of these buggers out of the nomination, the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. It's Breath of
Yeah.
the Wild again, guys. Like they didn't know. Like you changed the shape of the fucking shrines. Good job, champ. I'm proud of you. You made them look like eggs. Thank you. Great. Um, but the rest of them, four. I'm like
I think they look
solid
more like
four.
potatoes.
That they do look like spuds. You're right. But a solid set. Even still, even Tears of the Kingdom. Man, on a Switch 2, that game would be beautiful. It's still pretty good looking, if not a bit crunchy, but I I know where my heart goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Unfortunately, that's not where the vote's going.
well, who do you think wins
No.
this? Do you think Alan Wake wins this?
I think Alan Wake wins this, yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
I was thinking Mario.
No, not
Oh,
a
if
chance.
Mario
The
wins this,
thing-
I'm fucking drinking, dude. I'm not doing
the
that. Like, that's
okay, the
no.
thing that I've come to realize looking at this category the past several years is that the one that is closest to looking kind of realistic with some special effects usually wins. Alan Wake does that one better, where a majority or a large section of the cutscenes are actual live action footage, and it somehow doesn't feel jarring. So, and even
What?
in engine, all of the game looks incredible. A lot.
Well, I think that this category is 100% between Alan Wake 2 and Hi-Fi Rush. I don't think any of the other three have a shot in this. I think that it's 100% a split between Alan Wake 2 and Hi-Fi Rush. The question is how many awards is Alan Wake 2 gonna win? That's the thing. Is because by Hunter's account,
He's picked in
Alan
3
Wake 2 is
categories in
winning
a row.
everything, dude. Everybody.
Look, man, these are very. These are just
And
the
sometimes
ones that it
I'm
seems
sitting
like it'll
here
win.
and I'm looking at all these, and I'm like, okay, Alan Wake 2 has got, yeah, obviously. How are people gonna see it? Are people gonna go, oh yeah, Alan Wake 2 is so cool how they mix blend live action and stuff like that? It's gonna be. I think you're right that Alan Wake 2 will probably win this category. I'm voting Hi-Fi
Control
Rush. You
won
can
this
fuck
award
off,
when it
dude.
came out, and that didn't even have that stuff.
I'm voting Hi-Fi Rush, but yeah, I think Alan Wake 2 will get it.
Yeah. Did
But
we
I will
say
be
what our
extremely happy
predictions
if
were for
Hi-Fi
this?
Rush does win it, and I
Good,
will
I'd
be
be so
extremely
jazzed.
toxic if it does happen. Kyle, how are you feeling?
I put down Hi-Fi Rush.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
I convinced myself.
I almost convinced myself.
Fuck Mario. Mario's stinky.
Mario is stinky, dude. I fucking hate Mario. 5 out of 5, by the way. Great game.
It was a good game.
Next up, best score and music. For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. Alan Wake 2, composer, Petri Alanko. Baldur's Gate 3, composer, Borislav Slavov. Final Fantasy 16, composer Masayoshi Soken. Hi-Fi Rush, audio director Shuichi Kobori. And The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, composed by Nintendo Sound Team.
Nintendo Sound Team.
From Donkey Kong 64.
I know where my personal vote goes for this.
FF16.
Fucking yes. Like, genuinely,
I think FF16 wins.
I also think that it's a double hit. I think if Final Fantasy 16 wins any category, this is it.
One of the things I've been seeing the most since these nominations were revealed was it's a shame that FF16 wasn't in the game
of the year because we want to hear
because they wanted to hear the song.
Find the Flames. Yeah, you want to hear it. I want to hear it. I hope Flute Guy just takes a strike and plays it anyway. Dude, like, just get it out there. Like, my gosh.
So I think this is I think it's a fair bet that Final Fantasy 16 is winning this category.
Yeah.
I am 100% sold on it, and it well deserved. Like, oh my god, what a
It
soundtrack!
do.
Which, let's be real, that's every Final Fantasy sound always has a banging soundtrack. Dude, if we come to next year and Rebirth isn't nominated for this category, I will also be in like, this is an atrocity, because Final Fantasy music just slaps in general. Like, it's just a category that Final Fantasy belongs to. I'm glad that was so quick and easy. We're just like, that was not difficult at all.
We got 3 of those in our own predictions.
Oh, did we? Which ones did we get wrong?
We got the ones that we nominated that didn't were Starfield and Mario Wonder.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking about Mario Wonder. Starfield, I'm not surprised, but also I could see Starfield getting in here instead of Nah, you know what? Yeah, I think we're just stupid. I'll take that. We'll take the L on that one. I've got no arguments.
You know, I think that that episode you ended up thinking that Starfield was going to be a little more higher regarded nomination wise.
And now that I look at it and I'm like, you know what? I was fucking stupid.
Starfield's got
sometimes you have those
singular
moments.
nomination.
Sometimes, Hunter, you have those moments where you're like, wow, I'm dumb. And then you just move on, you know? Sometimes it's like that. Next up, I hope you're keeping up with all these timestamps. Like, best audio design. Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Alan Wake 2 by Remedy, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4. I know where my heart's going. And baby, I'm a believer, dude. I'm a believer. I think Hi-Fi Rush wins this. I'm going by Modern Warfare logic here. I'm going by Modern Warfare logic. What do I mean? If you're new here, 2020 or 20, it was 2020, I think. When we did this the first time, I went by Modern Warfare logic. Every trailer, everything, they were talking about how exceptional their sound design was, all of this jazz. They just kept revving up, and then they won. And to me, none of these games really, other than maybe Dead Space, were people going audio. But Dead Space came out in January, so we can, and no one. Let's be real here. Everyone's
Hi-Fi Rush.
So did Hi-Fi Rush, but Hi-Fi Rush's whole gimmick is audio.
Yeah.
This is the first instance in our predictions where we got talked out of a right answer.
Really?
Just a right answer got vetoed. Yeah, because you were like, no one remembered Dead Space. It's not going on our predictions.
And to be fair, is this like the only category it's nominated for? Because I feel like most people forgot about it.
This is the only category I tried to even say it would get a nomination for, though. It's the funny part.
I'm sorry, Hunter. I apologize. Like I said, sometimes I can be wrong. Most times I can be wrong. But no, I've already put my vote in. I think Hi-Fi Rush is going to win this. I'm voting for it.
I believe that Hi-Fi Rush gets to take this one.
Yeah, I'll put Hi-Fi too.
And it deserves it, man. It genuinely does. Like,
it deserves something.
It's very rare for a game that is so kind of like its emphasis is on sound, and you know, it's very difficult to make a rhythm game and make a rhythm game that's very good. And to make a hack and slash a rhythm game that's very good is something that is very challenging, and I think that it deserves it, because you know, all these games have great sound design, they really do. But Hi-Fi Rush, man, like, I also feel I want them to make more. I want Tango to do another Hi-Fi Rush. I'm just like, give them anything. I just want more of that. It's so good. Which I'm sure they will, because of all the reception. But right, oh my gosh. Next up, sorry Yuri, half of Spider-Man's face is being cut off because Jeff Keighley's got terrible website design. Best performance. Awarded to an individual for voice over acting, motion, and or performance capture. We have Ben Starr, Final Fantasy 16, Cameron Monaghan, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Idris Elba, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Melanie Libbard, Alan Wake 2, Neil Newbin, Baldur's Gate 3, and Yuri Lowenthal, Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
We
I think what's great
didn't
about
know there
this
would be
is
6
now
of
that I've
these and got 4 out of 5 of them.
Yeah, I just
oh
want to say, Hunter, good shout on that Alan Wake 2 voice actress.
Yeah.
I just want to say like
I tried to
I'm glad.
nominate Cameron Monaghan too.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did? I don't remember that.
And you know, after playing
Ethan
more
probably
Jedi
bullied you out of
Survivor,
it.
yeah, after playing more Jedi Survivor, he's good. He's pretty
He is
solid.
really good.
But also I think that like every voice actor in Star Wars Jedi is, at least for the main cast, is
Yeah, every main
very
character is
good.
great. Grease, Marin, all of
Grease,
them,
Marin,
fantastic.
and yeah, they're all fantastic. Um, I know where my heart goes for this one. Personally, but I don't know. This is the thing, right? If Idris Elba wins this, I'm
Oh, if
gonna
that
be
happens, I
upset.
quit.
I am actually gonna be upset. No offense to Idris Elba. Elba,
Look,
wonderful
I'm
actor.
sure
I
he
love him
does
in
a decent
everything
job
that he's
or a
in.
good job as whoever from Cyberpunk. He does not do a Ben Starr as Clive Rossfield job, though. There's no
I'm
way.
Oh,
voting Ben Starr, and I am
Ben
putting
Starr should win this
I'm putting
award.
Ben Starr should win. I genuinely am also
And
in
if he
agreement.
doesn't, it's a war crime.
Yeah, put it on the list. Put it on the list. It will be a war crime if he doesn't win it. He's just so good. Like honestly, so good. He's the only person in that video game that plays every version of his own character because everybody else had swaps at some point. Um, but no, like again, even though I don't necessarily like the second half of the narrative, Ben's performance throughout the game is consistently excellent. For like, honestly, his performance was what kept me going through the struggle of the
yeah.
second half. Um, to me, it's no contest. Like, I mean, Yuri's fabulous, but Yuri's fabulous in everything, and it's like um,
And like, I wouldn't say that like Spider-Man 2, he did a great job in Spider-Man 2. I
oh,
wouldn't say that's
100%.
necessarily any step above the other game though.
And I also think, and I'm sorry, this is a controversial opinion, I think, for Spider-Man fans. I think Black Suit Peter is the cringiest thing on the planet. And I will stand by, I don't think there is a good way to do that, because even Yuri, I'm like,
See,
it just, I don't like
I'm
it.
with
It
you,
doesn't
but I
gel
think
with
that
me.
he does maybe the best job,
He does,
barring.
and I think it's more of it's a terrible concept than
Yeah, yeah.
terrible
Like, I
performance.
still love that. I didn't know there were bears in these woods.
Oh, that's a
Line.
fantastic line. That's an absolutely brilliant line.
Like he had stuff there that made me laugh, or when he was smack talking the lizard, being like, "No wonder your family left you all angry and stuff." I'm
Yeah.
like, this is a bit much to be having him say, but he's saying it very well.
Yeah. And like I say, everybody here is great, but Ben Starr, I think, is just in another league on this one.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be like Roger Clark for me, where I'm like, what's he in next, dude? And
He's
can
gonna
it
be one
not
of
be
the
an indie
birds in
game
Grand Theft
that's a
Auto.
bit garbage, please? Like the next thing Roger Clark's in, that's like I'll be like, hey, yeah. And same for Ben, man. He's pretty fantastic. Um, but all great performances here, to be honest, for the most part. I don't know why I said for the most part. They are all great.
Yeah.
Just like, not you, Cameron. You sit in the corner. No, he's fantastic. He is good. But Cameron will live. He's got another Star Wars game to make. He'll
Yeah,
be
he'll get
fine.
another chance to maybe win the award.
He's got a
Yeah.
Disney Plus show coming eventually,
Oh,
probably.
fucking
Oh, I
please,
hope
no.
not.
I honestly think, after playing Jedi Survivor Hunter quite a bit, there is now a part of me that's like, we've been talking about when's Cal gonna hop into live action, and we're all like, we don't want it to happen, and people are like, oh, you'll show up in something random. I'm like, I honestly think that Disney will just scrape the bottom of the barrel at some point where they just turn these games into a show.
Oh
Like they
my
don't even
god.
that they'll just do that, and I'm like, oh,
I
that'll
don't
be
want
horrible.
that. It'd potentially still be better than some of what they've been doing,
Hmm.
but I don't want it.
Yeah, then it'd probably be like The Last of Us, where some parts I'm like, well, some parts of Jedi. are really padded and the gameplay's stinky. So maybe you could cut a bit out and I might like it more as just to just to watch along. Maybe you never know. Anyway, innovation, accessibility, recognizing software and/or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. There's 6 nominations for this one, and they go a little something like this: Diablo 4. I believe we wrote that down.
We did.
Yeah.
I convinced everybody. You're welcome. That's a point. Forza Motorsport. Did we write that one down?
No.
Well, what the fuck were we thinking, guys? Come on, it's got cars. Cars are accessible to everybody. Hi-Fi Rush. Did we put Hi-Fi?
No.
I'm still.
We also
confused
only
about
put
that.
5 for this.
Yeah, because we didn't know it'd be 6. Marvel
Is it
Spider-Man 2, we
normally
definitely
6?
put down.
We did.
Did we
We
put Mortal
did.
Kombat?
No.
No.
We did put
I
Street
don't-
Fighter though.
Yes.
We did put
So
Street
50-50.
Fighter.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
50-50. Here's the thing, right? Is these are all good picks. I literally have no fucking clue. I genuinely
If
have
I
no
had
clue.
to guess, I'd go with Street Fighter just because I've heard the Blind Man at Evo story.
That
I
was
haven't-
so cool, dude.
You know what? You've
And I don't
convinced me.
think
If
that
they've got a
any of
blind
these
man at
other
Evo
ones-
story, then okay, yeah,
I don't think
that's
any
a
of
good
these other
enough
games
narrative
have a
for me.
story like that attached to it, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, okay. Put me down for Street Fighter 6. And if it has a story like that, then yeah, it'll be in people's minds. I am personally, well, I don't really want to vote for something. My personal vote is for something that I haven't really experienced, so I'm not gonna. But that's really limiting my options here, guys.
Limits it down to
Spider-Man
2.
or Hi-Fi Rush. I'm just gonna give it to Hi-Fi Rush because I like Hi-Fi Rush. You know, there's sometimes a little bit of
That's the
bias
spirit.
goes a long way. Dude. There we go.
You know, sometimes that's what you do when you don't know what to vote for.
Yeah. Hunter's like, you could skip the vote, and I'm like, no. I'll just have an uneducated guess. Thank you, Hunter. The best kind of vote. That's how Brexit happened. Oops. Anyway,
Womp
what? Games for Impact. For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Did we do nominations for this one? I feel like we didn't because we don't know
No.
enough. Okay,
I
that
don't know
makes
what
it
any
easier.
of these are.
I know quite a
played
few of these.
Chia.
A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sennar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, and Venba. I have no clue of what will win this.
I'm gonna put down Chia because that's the only one I've heard of.
You see,
You
I'm
shouldn't, because Tachia's not gonna win it.
Who cares?
What do you think's gonna win it? A Space for the Unbound?
I'm between that or Venba. I've heard like what the gist of Venba is, being like this kind of this immigrant family, or this
Mhm.
two parents that are like immigrants trying to parent their child with in mind for the culture that they came from or whatever. But A Space for the Unbound is another one I heard stuff about whenever it came out. So I'm between those two. And yeah, I'll go with A Space for the Unbound.
That's what I'm gonna go for as well. And I'll give it my vote just because I love a bit of bias here. I haven't played any of them. But it's the one that I've heard the most about. So that's what I'm gonna go for. What are you going for, Kyle? Are you still going for Cheer?
Yeah.
You go for it. Next up, it's Kyle's favorite category. It's best ongoing game, guys. Kyle loves his always online games.
Oh, is this the year?
Yeah,
Is this
awarded
the
to
year?
a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14.
It evolved into
Fortnite,
being
and
playable.
Genshin Impact.
Congratulations.
They fixed it. That counts.
It shouldn't.
Game's playable now.
I'm not educated enough here to really think of anything, because if Cyberpunk wins this, I feel like Cyberpunk's going to win it. I genuinely do. And I think it'll be I think I'll have a massive laugh when it happens. I think that's what's going to happen. I think, put me down, Kyle. I think Cyberpunk's going to win it, and I'm going to laugh when it happens. Because, That's kind of fucked. Like, yeah, well done. You fixed your game. Very proud of you, CD Projekt. Thank you for doing that. But also, shouldn't really applaud you for best ongoing as going from shit to fixed. Like, I feel like that's... No Man's Sky wasn't nominated for this category because it went from shit to fixed. It's because they just kept going and going and no, yeah, they fixed it, and then they just kept going and going and going. Where Cyberpunk's like, we fixed it now. On to Witcher 4.
Yeah, this is what it should have launched as. Here you go.
It's a single player RPG.
And game works now.
Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna just throw my vote at Final Fantasy 14.
And then didn't it win last year? I don't think it's gonna win again.
John,
I think it won last year.
I feel like it's a safe bet, and I want to do everything I can to keep from willing Cyberpunk winning this into existence.
Is it bad that I kind of want to?
I'll also say this, Ethan. FF14 also won in 2021.
So it just keeps winning.
Yeah. Stays winning.
No, I think I'm going for this. I'm going for this evil Cyberpunk 2077 narrative. I think that people are that stupid that they are going to go for, wow, what a great job. Stupid. And I'm going to vote for it because I'm going to commit to my bit.
Oh.
I'm a monster hunter. What are you going to do, eh? What are you going to do? Sleep on it? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Carl, what are you going for FF14? Your little home away from home?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Next up is everybody's favorite best community support. It's the same fucking category.
I know.
Right. Recognizing the game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky. There are 2 games that do not deserve to be here, Cyberpunk 2077 and Destiny 2, because not only has Cyberpunk... I'm
pretty sure Destiny's community hates it, so yeah.
I think everybody hates Destiny at the moment, to be honest. Destiny's in a really bad spot right now. Yeah. You know what? This one, it could go out. It could go to any of the other 3.
I feel like Baldur's Gate might get this one just because, you know.
Yeah, I can see it.
Because like also, even before I've been playing the game, I've been seeing constantly Larian just being like, "Yo, guys, we added this in this new patch."
You know, I agree with you, and I'm gonna. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm gonna give my vote to No Man's Sky because those guys always do. I love Hello Games, so I'm just gonna give them a quick little cheeky vote. But yeah, I do think Baldur's Gate 3 will win. But I do kind of love. I still love the No Man's Sky kind of vibes where they just don't fucking talk, and then just on a random fucking Wednesday at 6 p.m. they're just like, next expansion, it's here. It's 60 million things that we've added. Have fun. And then back into the dark. I like that kind of vibe. Cal, what are you going for?
I put down Baldur's Gate.
Hell yeah. We're all in agreement on that one. Next up is Jeff's worst nightmare, best independent game for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. Let's repeat that for Jeff in the back. A game made outside of the traditional publisher system. Cocoon. Dave the Diver, a game that was made in the traditional publisher system. Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. I think Dave the Diver has received that much controversy surrounding this that it's not going to win. I feel like Jeff would be petty enough to rig the vote.
Enough people who voted on this, enough people who voted on the nominations have brought this up now since it's been nominated. That
100%.
Like Dave the Diver can't win.
Oh, I think this could go to.
I think this goes to Sea of Stars.
Do you?
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I'm in agreement. I think I'm also in agreement. Just solely because it reviewed so highly, and more importantly, everyone, like, here's the thing. Dredge and Cocoon and Viewfinder have all reviewed well. but Sea of Stars was on Game Pass at launch. It was on PS Plus at launch. Basically,
It was.
everybody who wanted to play this, Nintendo fans are stupid, they'll buy anything regardless, right?
That's true.
So anybody that wanted this game had access to it.
Mhm.
And it reviewed so highly that I think it's one of those things where even though the other games, again, fantastic year for indies.
Yeah, really
Even
good year for
non-indies like
indies.
Dave the Diver, fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're onto something, Hunter. I think you're onto something.
Oh, we're finally back to a category that we actually predicted, by the way, now.
Oh,
We
right,
got
yeah, well,
we got 3 out of 5 of them there.
yeah, what did we say?
We first of all underestimated the ability of Dave the Diver to cheat, and then we overestimated Pizza Tower and the Talos principle.
I am
Pizza
actually
Tower's about to show up.
Pizza Tower's
Well,
about to show
yeah.
up, and I also said that I think it was more likely that it would show up in debut.
Debut.
Which it did. I just thought it would show up in both because I'm a man of culture. What can I say? I'm kind of shocked that Talos Principle didn't get a nomination here because it also scored extremely high. In fact, I think Dave the Diver should have fucked off, and then that should have been Talos Principle, in my opinion. But there you go. Cal, what are you voting for? Sorry, did you ever say?
I put down Dredge.
I think that's a hunter, but that's a hunter pick right there. That's like getting into. I feel like in my heart of hearts, it's Sea of Stars. I think you're right. If not, I think it'd probably be Cocoon, maybe. Or Viewfinder.
Yeah,
Also.
if Sea of Stars doesn't get it, I could see Cocoon winning, but or I guess in the worst possible timeline, Dave the Diver just wins despite
If
not
Dave the
being
Diver
indie.
wins, then I'm not buying Dave the Diver for
That's a
Nintendo
war
Switch.
crime.
That's a threat. Add that to the war crime tally, Hunter. Like add that to the death cons that we have in the war room as we're going. There you go. Anyway, next up, timestamps at the ready. Best debut indie game. For the best debut game created by a new independent studio, Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. I think it's still really funny that we get to see Pizza Tower tour de pizza here on an official awards ceremony. I think that's hilarious. Pizza Tower's getting my vote. I think Pizza Tower's going to win. I think this is something where here's the thing, right? Is all these games, Dredge, Cocoon, Venba, Viewfinder, fantastic games. They'll all have their fans, and I'm sure they'll have quite a few critics' votes. The problem is Pizza Tower, literally everyone and their mum played Pizza Tower who wanted to play it, and they are rabid, dude. They are hungry. They're like the Genshin botters, dude. They're coming in here and they're voting every day. Like they're getting in here. I believe in Pizza Tower Nation.
It'd be cool to see Pizza Tower win here. I think Cocoon will win this one.
I think you're a traitor to the Tour de Pizza Force, dude. I'm very ashamed of you. Cal, what are you picking?
Pizza Tower.
Hell, Cal's a man of culture. He
Our
understands
nominations here are amusing to no end because not only did we leave one blank, we had Pizza Tower, Dredge, Cocoon, which were all correct,
Cool.
but then we also had Eternites as
because we couldn't think. No, right? I want to put this.
Yeah, we couldn't think of any.
We couldn't think of it which ones were debuts or not, and we didn't have time to look up which were debuts.
Also, one of the searches was wrong because, like, I'm pretty sure we talked about Viewfinder and thought that they said that they made something else.
Yeah, I do. I also think. Yeah, so one of the searches was wrong. You know, what can I say? It's hard to do a live show like this one, so sometimes we make mistakes. What can I say? I'm sorry. Again, for the 5th time this episode, I'm sorry, okay? Anyway, we cook the pizza, we win in the award. Can't wait. Mamma mia. It's a Mia, a Mario. Ben Starr and Pizza Tower Supremacy.
Wahoo.
Anyway, wahoo. Next up, everyone's favorite best mobile game for the best game playable on a mobile device. We have everyone's favorites: Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, which I solely think gets a nomination because of the South Park episode like 20 years ago that predicted a game called Hello Kitty Island Adventure, and it finally showed up. I think that's the sole reason this has got a nomination. Honkai Star Rail, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I think Honkai Star Rail wins this one.
Yeah.
And we
I
all cry.
Honkai Star Rail, and I hate everything.
I'm going to vote for Final Fantasy VII because I'm a Final Fantasy VII shill, but I think Honkai Star Rail will sweep this as the Hoyo bots get their fucking grubby paws in the vote.
Honestly, why couldn't you just have the decency to leave well enough alone with your singular?
I'm sure
annoying
Hoyo
mobile
has already
game?
tweeted that everybody that gives them a vote gets 5 primo gems, whatever the fuck, you know. Like, get yourself 1,000th of a way to your next waifu if you give us a vote real quick. And they're all like, yes, thank you. Are we all in agreement then? And we just all think Honkai's
Yeah.
going to win?
Yeah.
Great. Wonderful.
Good discussion on mobile games, boys.
Right, anyway,
See you
come
next
back next year. Best VR/AR for the best game experience playable in virtual reality, irrespective of platform. Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR, or Synapse.
I'm of two minds on this one.
Really? Go ahead. I think I know which one.
The one is Gran Turismo because it's the one I heard a bunch of people talking about. And then the other option is 2021 taught me to never bet against Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah, dude.
Especially in VR, where it's much more personal, where the people are being creepy about her.
See, I think it's interesting because I think we'll be having this conversation next year as well because the Resident Evil 4 VR mode will probably also be nominated for this category next year.
And Resident Evil 4 is like an exponentially better game.
Let's be real here. If Sony had some actual plans to make VR games in the future, the fact that Resident Evil 4 is getting a VR mode would 100% incentivize me to be thinking towards it more. But I just have no faith in PlayStation making anything for it. I am personally of a mind that I think it's going to be Gran Turismo just because of how crazy people were saying it was in terms of like, it does, you know, like when you look at prior VR modes in the past, people are like, oh, it's a downgrade and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, Resident Evil 7's VR mode, we've already had that kind of, wow, they managed to do it and they didn't drop any quality or drop the ball. Whereas it's not as fresh as Gran Turismo being like, oh, no, this is a console VR game and it looks as good as the, like, next gen. It's fooling people, right? I feel like it was one of those things.
I guess one thing that would maybe give me pause about it is like the experience might have a bit more, because to get like the full experience, you kind of would want the sim wheel and all of that.
You want the fucking setup, dude.
Yeah. And that's an even higher barrier to entry. But overall,
but at the same time, we're talking about VR here, Hunter. No one owns these fucking things. So, you know. What you've got to remember here is I think all of these games, I don't know about Synapse and Humanity actually, but I know for a fact that Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, and Resident Evil Village VR are all exclusive to PlayStation and VR because two of them are PlayStation exclusives. And as far as I'm aware, it's Sony that actually gives money to the Resident Evil team to make these VR modes. They help make them, and that's why they're all exclusive. So at the end of the day, it's a PSVR 2 contest here. The 5 people that own them are deciding the fate of this award category.
That's true, and the 5 people that owned them do really like Gran Turismo's VR mode. So.
Of course they do. Then they wasted $500 on a fucking VR headset. Of course they're gonna have enough money to buy a wheel as well. Hunter, what are you expecting? Dude? Like, come on, Kyle, what are you thinking?
I put down Gran Turismo. Hunter, what am I putting you down for?
Gran Turismo.
Okay.
Hell yeah. I can't wait for it to be Resident Evil, and I've once again convinced you to join me in the wrong answer. Anyway, next up is an interesting category. Best action game for the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2. I think it's going to be Armored Core.
Yeah, me too. This is the part where we owe you an apology, Ethan, because we nominated Resident Evil 4 here, and you didn't want to.
Yeah, I will accept your apology. You know, I'm always right. Never wrong. As we've seen today, I'm never wrong. Especially not about Starfield. But if I've learned one thing in my life of doing this podcast for the past 4 years, 3.5 years, It's don't mess with From Software friends. They're a different breed.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is the only category that it's nominated for, so
It will win. My heart is my vote will go for Hi-Fi Rush as always, but I think Armored Core 6 will win.
yeah.
Are we all in agreement there?
I think so.
Yes.
Cool. I love it when we're in agreement. It just makes everything so much easier. Best action adventure game. This is let me read this. It says for the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. And also, Ethan was fucking right. Get in the bin. That's the official thing. Thanks, Jeff. Check is in the mail. Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2. What do you know? Do my eyes deceive me? Is that Resident Evil 4 in action adventure? That's crazy. Wow. Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Tears of the Kingdom. Zelda wins this, right?
Why did we put Dave the Diver in our predictions?
Well, you see, because
people want to let me put Resident Evil 4 cow when I was trying to make the argument that it's action adventure. That's why.
Otherwise, we got this category right.
Yeah. I just want to say, I think Tears of the Kingdom will win it. My personal vote still good. I'm still in my head. If you were to ask me at the start of this year, would Ethan's internal dilemma would still be sitting here talking, like literally my internal dilemma at the moment is Resident Evil 4 and Tears of the Kingdom. That is genuinely what I'm thinking at the end of this year. And I'm like, if you asked me at the start of the year, this is what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, you're mental. You're absolutely crazy. But that's how I'm feeling at the moment. But yeah, I think, Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, all pretty good games.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, bit of a buggy mess. It works now, though, guys. It works. At least it got nominated this time. It didn't get nominated last time round.
Didn't get nominated for anything.
Because everyone forgot about it because it was out in December, so it missed the actual year, and then it was Smash Bros, so it got forgotten the following. Yeah, that's crazy. And Resident Evil 4, fantastic. Alan Wake 2, fantastic. Marvel Spider-Man 2. Are we all in agreement, or is anyone
on Zelda?
Yeah. Okay then. Nice and easy. Next up, Best RPG for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences.
Oh, look, there's Starfield.
Oh, look, fucking hell. Squinting, you'll miss it, guys. There it is.
We found
it's only
it.
Nomination. We found it. God, I thought I told Jeff to put it in all the other categories. Wow, that's crazy. Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16.
Xbox tax.
Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. Baldur's Gate wins this, doesn't it?
Baldur's Gate clears
questionably,
easily.
Yeah. My vote. I'm personally going to vote for Final Fantasy 16. Because sorry, Starfield, but there's an Xbox tax, so I can't vote for you. I'm sorry, like, that's not allowed. No, like I say, I've been having this conversation with myself, and we were talking while you were asleep, Hunter. That it's like it's really interesting coming to the end of the year because you have all these kind of visceral, kind of very guttural reactions to video games as you're in there playing them, right? But then after you've like waited a couple of months, you've simmered down and you think about it. You kind of get your more reflective emotions.
Get back into the mindset of, okay, what do I still feel now?
Yeah, because it's a lot different, right? And it's like it's like I was talking where it's like I hated Raincode quite a damn bit when I played it. But now that all the terrible gameplay has escaped my mind and my memory, really, and all I'm left with is what the actual experience was, I end up liking it. I'm more positive on it now than I was 5 months ago because I just remember I really liked the characters and the story and the world that they'd created, right? It's like one of those and Starfield's one of those things where it's like, man, those first 20 hours I absolutely loved, but now looking at it 3 months later, I don't remember shit other than not liking the ending, like, and being like, "Hey, some of the characters I liked Samko and I liked Sarah Morgan, and I liked a couple like Andreja and some of the characters, but it was still just another Bethesda game. Is it my favorite Bethesda game? Probably, but also that's not saying much because I've never really clicked with them as much as I did Starfield. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna win this. It's a freebie, really. I'd love to be proven wrong, but not because I don't like Baldur's Gate, but just because I love a bit of controversy. But but also great games all around. Liza P, man, what a fucking! I'm so glad that Liza P actually turned out good. Like,
Yeah, it's nice to see. This category cracks me. Well, actually, it's more so our action nominations that crack me up because we just assumed games that ended up in other places were going to be nominated there.
and like I said,
our version of that category is better because it
Yeah.
didn't have Dead Island.
yeah, I agree. But like I say, I think you've got to look at it in a certain lens, right? It's like even if something does lean on the action genre, if it has an RPG heritage, or people are just going to make those assumptions regardless. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
genre, it doesn't matter what combat system Final Fantasy's going for. Final Fantasy's always going to be considered at the end of the day an RPG. You just kind of got to roll with the dice, really. Like, RPG is such a generic term anyway. We always talk about technically every modern game's an RPG when you think about it, in some way, shape, or form, even when they shouldn't be. Looking at you, Assassin's Creed. But, you know, we'll just have to roll with it. Anyway, next up, best fighting game, where I actually owe an apology here to Kyle for saying God of
You
Rock
sure do.
wouldn't get a nomination. And you know, Kyle, I do apologize. I forgot that only 5 games did come out in the fighting game category this year, so my apologies.
I forgive you, best buddy.
For the
We
best
also
game
laughed at
designed
him for
primarily
trying
around
to
head-to-head
nominate
combat.
Nick All Stars too. So,
And I just want to say, guys, if this was
double
like
apology.
Oscars, you know how like Oscar films are always like Oscar nominated when they didn't win fucking anything, but like Oscar nominated picture. If you ever want to be Game Award nominated game, just make yourself a fighting game. Just fucking release it whenever you want, because you can get like a 22 on OpenCritic and you'll still be nominated. Because there'll still only be 5
It's
fuckers at the end of the day.
True. Like, God of Rock only got nominated because people know that it's a fighting game.
Yeah, there was like it got like a 50 odd, didn't
nobody
it? In the end,
seemed
like a
to
50
like
odd
it.
something, or 60 odd. It was not too hot on the
I mean,
critic score.
it's a cool concept, if
It's
nothing
a cool
else.
concept,
But
yeah, but
just seems
nobody
like it
seems
wasn't
to like it.
executed well.
Yeah. Anyway, God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nick All Stars Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, Street Fighter 6. How many did we get of these? I assume we got 3.
We got 4.
4. Oh,
Yeah.
did you put God of Rock in the end and I was just bitter about it?
Well, yes.
Okay, perfect.
You deleted God of Rock off the board and put Bingo in there instead.
So a
Why
free
did I do
Thanks,
that?
best buddy.
Why did I do
still
that?
lands on God
I don't
of
know.
Rock.
You were really angry, I guess.
Why did I put Bingo though?
I don't know. Why do
but-
you do anything?
Anyway, yeah, the only one that was technically wrong was the
Idle Showdown.
Yeah, Kyle tried to nominate a VTuber game.
Look, it was the 5th fighting game I could think of, Hunter.
That's fair.
I also want to
don't know
say,
what Pocket
I'm glad
Fighter
we're
is.
all in agreement that we don't really remember why I put Bingo, because I'm like, is this just Ethan's terrible memory? I'm just glad we all forgot that shit went down. So that's good, because
I just
usually
knew
Hunter.
that you deleted God of Rock.
Yeah, I that sounds familiar, Hunter. It's the Bingo
Yeah.
that I don't understand.
I think
Anyway,
you were trying to indicate maybe free space or something, since we didn't have a 5th slot.
no, okay, cool. Anyway, I think Street Fighter 6 wins this,
Yeah,
Street
this
Fighter
fight
6.
is between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
and I think
And
Street Fighter came out on
despite
top.
Mortal Kombat being the more popular thing generally, Street Fighter's always been more respected.
Yeah, true.
My only hiccup here is that Mortal Kombat 1 did win. Was it the Golden Joysticks? Is that what happened recently?
No, who cares about that?
but
That
It
shit's
won
fake
some
data.
other award
but it
show.
probably shouldn't have.
I
It
think
definitely shouldn't
I
have.
think Street Fighter 6 is more of a Game Awards win.
Yeah.
So that's what I think that's pretty much of a lock, because like Hunter said, Mortal Kombat is the popular one. Street Fighter 6 is the more kind of awards kind of one for me, personally. And then Tekken's always the most consistent. Because if you look at the history of all Tekken games, they always I think all of them get like an 82 exactly. Like I know Tekken 7 and Tekken 6 both got an 82, and it's just like, oh wow, consistency's key over there. Whereas Street Fighter 6 is really up here. Launch Street Fighter 5, let's go into the fucking ground. You know, bit hit and miss. Although they're trying to lose some of that fucking hype with the DLC, dude. Would you like to spend $6 bajillion
talk about
it? Anyway, I think we're all in agreement there. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Best family game. Can we just say the best family is for the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. Nintendo, what did the money not go through to Jeff's account? What happened? There's some non-Nintendo games in here for once. What happened, dude?
I like that the picture for Party Animals is just a crocodile with some shades.
Yeah,
I
it's getting my
really
vote
like
just for
it.
that. It's getting my vote just for that. Like that. There you
I'm
go.
glad that
Well
Party
done.
Animals got nominated. The game looks fun, and if I had an Xbox, I would play it.
Yeah, I have an Xbox. I'm not played it though.
Well, you don't really have other people to play it with. Just
Yeah.
I think Mario Wonder wins.
Oh yeah.
unquestionably.
Pikmin 4 thinks he's part of the gang, dude. Like genuinely, like that's why I think this category is stupid, because a lot of times they just stick Nintendo games in here, and I'm like, Pikmin 4 is Pikmin 4 nominated for strategy?
It is.
Yeah, it
Okay, good.
is.
Okay,
It'll
I'm like,
probably win
because
Which
that one.
conveniently is the next category.
oh, perfect, that worked.
What a
I'll enjoy your
segue,
20-second timestamp if you were looking for best family. Like, I hope you enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Worth the click. Best sim and strategy for the best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Advanced Wars 1+2, Reboot Camp, City Skylines 2, Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem, fucking Engage, and Pikmin 4. My vote goes for Pikmin 4.
Yeah, Pikmin 4 is probably going to win this one because Pikmin
Because
fans are
here's the
silly, and
thing,
it was better
Advanced
than
Wars is too niche. Company of
Yeah.
Heroes 3 I don't see. City Skylines 2 released in such a rough state that I doubt it. And Fire Emblem Engage, I don't care if you're a Fire Emblem fan
It
or not. I
is a
think we can
video
all
game.
agree Fire Emblem Engage is fucking shit. Like, it's a bad game. Don't
It's
need to
like
think
half
about
of a
that one.
good
Hunter,
game.
emotions haven't changed. They're still visceral for that one. They're still pretty bad.
Man still hasn't played past like chapter 3.
I still hate it.
and he never will.
I never will.
He'll sooner play the Three Hopes game that he hasn't touched yet.
How'd you
The
go
Warriors
from 3?
game.
How'd you go from 3 houses to that? Like, genuinely, how'd you go from interesting enough story, bit clunky gameplay, to we fixed the gameplay? What? Well, shit, we forgot to do a story. Like, oh, Pepsi Man's God. There you go. Perfect.
Man, if it
Sign
was
off.
actual Pepsi Man, that would make the game like 10,000% better.
But yeah, Pikmin clears this, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
Next up is probably is it sports and racing time? It is sports
It
and racing
is.
time. Everyone's favorite category for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. Remember when Crash was in this for CTR and it won?
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
the
great.
best year. That was
great.
the
That was
That was a
great.
great year. The nominations are EA Sports FC24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels, Unleashed 2, Turbocharged, The Crew Motorfest. I'm putting my vote for Forza here. Because it's the
Yeah.
only kind of prestige title. 2 of them are annual. The Crew is a Ubisoft game, and Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 is probably fun, but also it's more of a quirky pick.
There was a sick and twisted part of me that wanted to pick Hot Wheels.
I think it's
But
the
also
second
I
one is
wanna
likely,
win.
Kyle, if that makes it any better.
Yeah.
I think that if Forza doesn't win, it will be Hot Wheels.
Even if people wanted to vote for FIFA, they couldn't anymore because they'd spell it wrong.
We all know FIFA players can't read, so they're not gonna. They're like, yeah, but they are good at image processing. So they might see that is the box art for it and go, "Ooh, man kick ball, that'd be FIFA," and then click on it. There you go.
I know that one.
I know that one.
sport.
Man kick ball. That's my favorite game.
Man, kickball.
I love kickball.
Anyway, that's enough of that one. Best multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That's an interesting
I'd like
list.
to point out, Party Animals has more nominations than Starfield.
That's the spirit. Good job. Party
I'd also like to
Animals.
point out Party Animals has more nominations than Dead Space as well. Then, if we're playing that
It
game.
does.
And you know what I say, guys? I see funny alligator with sunglasses. I click.
That's true.
I think it's funny because I played one of these games and could have voted for it, but I'm not voting for that shit. Mario Bros is not. I'm not counting that.
So sadly, I don't think Party Animals will actually win.
Probably
I don't
not.
I'm not. So I feel like Baldur's Gate would be potentially an easy answer, but I don't know what the temperature check on the multiplayer of
See,
that
I don't think
is.
it is. I don't think it is because I think it's too niche. Like, I
See,
think 90% of people that have played Baldur's Gate 3 played it on their fucking own.
Well, a lot of what I've heard about, maybe, but also like it is just D&D, the video game. So
yeah.
there's like plenty of nerds who probably gathered up a band of friends to play this game with.
Yeah, but you've got to ask, are the normies that played multiplayer Baldur's Gate 3 in large enough quantities to outvote fighting game fans or Diablo nerds?
Uh, that's what I'm asking myself. Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm just like, I don't think Baldur's Gate wins this one. And I'll be happily wrong, but I just don't think it will happen. Because kind of local co-op and stuff like that doesn't really tend to win this one. It's usually an online thing.
Yeah.
I'm
I'll
gonna
put my vote
go with Street
Fighter.
Fighter because I just don't want Diablo to win.
Oh yeah, that's the spirit.
Well, just because it's so shit. Did you not like they had like $30 horse armor or some shite? I'm like, fucking
Oh
Yeah.
Oh well, Street Fighter I know
I've
just had
seen
$6
about that.
bajillion skins. Like, oh, fucking hell.
$100
Yeah,
for
we want
all of
Baldur's Gate
Costume
win.
3.
Piece.
Maybe I do want Baldur's
it's
Gate
the
win.
death of 1,000 cuts, but I'm sure Diablo has more than one instance of $30 horse armor.
Probably. It also has like seasonal resets and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll go Street Fighter 6 on my end. What about you two?
I also vote for Street Fighter to win.
Kyle,
I'm going Baldur's Gate on this one.
you go for it.
I'm pretty sure, so I didn't try out any of the multiplayer because Hunter didn't have the game at the time, and Sam is impossible to get a hold of. But I feel like getting a group of friends together to play Baldur's Gate 3, that sounds like a good night. That sounds like a really fun time.
I'm sure it does, but like I say, I just don't know how many people will actually do it.
Yeah, that's
because
the hang up that I have is I don't know
because it's
how
such a
many
fucking
people
long game.
did do
It's
it.
long enough for a single person to go through it. Imagine trying to organize your friends to play through it. Like, oh my!
But that's
God.
what D&D is, Ethan.
Yeah,
Working
but no one has
out a
fucking
schedule
time for
with
that.
your friends.
The people who have time for that
Hey,
have a
all, when do
D&D
you have
session.
4
That's
hours?
it. They don't need it. They've already got one. They've got D&D at home, literally. Anyway, best adaptation. Recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Twisted Metal. Unlikely thing to ever happen. I honestly am still shocked that the Twisted Metal show was somehow like well received in the end. Yeah.
I'm still forever grumpy that this category didn't show up until after the original Castlevania show was done.
I agree.
Because
I
now
know
the Castlevania show has to compete against The Last of Us and Mario.
Yeah,
Right,
and
dude. Next year,
I know what I'm
Devil May
doing.
Cry show on here.
And probably the other season of this Castlevania show.
Probably.
I'm kind of sad though because like there's been some good stuff this year, like
Mm-hmm.
and some just like some goofy stuff. It depends like what best adaptation is and stuff like that. So it's like it's interesting, right? I know what I'm voting for. I'm voting for The Last of Us
wins this because
and I think The Last of Us also wins it. Yeah, which is well, one I do think The Last of Us it's brilliant. It is a brilliant adaptation. Like it's one of those things where people are like. A lot of people are like, yeah, play the game or whatever. And I'm like, no, if you are casual and you really do not give a shit about video games, you can go ahead and watch the HBO Last of Us show and you'll get exactly what people that play the video game got out of it. Will you miss certain characters and certain things? Yes. But you also get better adaptations of some of the characters in some ways, like the Bill episode, like genuinely, like, my God. If anything, it's one of those things.
Alright gameplay getting in between the story beats.
If anything, it's one of those things where I'm like, if you've played The Last of Us, I'd highly recommend you watch The Last of Us because you get a lot out of it, especially episode 3. Like, my God, episode 3, I'm like, wow, that should have been that. Like, it wouldn't work for a game, and I'm glad that they did it that way. Which is why I'm interested to see what they do with the rest of the story, to be honest, because I think in a TV show, I think they might be able to handle it in a better way where people won't get angry.
I think the second game story probably works better as a TV show than it does.
I agree.
A game.
But we'll see, I guess. But yeah, I think The Last of Us wins it. Sorry, Mario fans. I think Mario could if enough audience voted for it, but I think Last of Us is going to get all the critic votes.
Yeah. I feel like Mario didn't have the same kind of crossover appeal that Last of Us did.
I think the thing is yeah, Mario was good for fans, but wasn't a great movie. It was just kind of it was a
It was just
thing that
okay.
happened.
Yeah.
The Last of
Whereas
Us,
The
like
Last of Us,
people drool over HBO shows regardless of source material all
well,
the
because they're
time.
good for the most part. They have a few
Yeah.
misses, like the final season, like the final couple of bits of Game of
Game of
Thrones, right?
Thrones.
But
Yeah.
like that's what the thing is because I hadn't really watched many HBO shows, and then I go into The Last of Us. I'm like, okay, no, I understand when people say a HBO show, why they classify them on their own little tier, and it's because they're kind of crazy. But yeah, I think that's a pretty easy vote. Most anticipated game, I will say, recognizing an announced game that has demonstratively illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. I think this is a very weak list for anticipated game.
Oh, Tekken 8 was
Mainly
here after all.
because I was saying this again, you weren't here, Hunter, because you were asleep. But I said to Kyle
Yeah.
that I think this is the first time ever where 4 of the 5 nominees are supposed to be out within the first 3 to 4 months of the year, where it's not even like a lot of the time because we've been riding these waves forever.
And then
Where
the
you've had
last one is questionable whether it'll even be in the year or not.
yeah, Hades will
Yeah.
be in early access by the end of next year, probably. But like yeah, Tekken and Like a Dragon are literally next month.
Hmm.
Final Fantasy is the month after
End of
that, and
February.
Star Wars is supposed to be out before physical year, so it's
Yeah.
supposed to be April. So like it's crazy. Um, I think it's between Final Fantasy and Hades.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, here's the thing: which one am I more excited for right now? Final Fantasy or
The one
Hades
with the
2?
release date.
Final Fantasy because it's in 2 months. That's why I'm more
Well,
anticipated.
yeah.
Because again, can't wait for Hades 2.
Yeah.
I will probably play it on PC in early access. That's how excited I am. I will probably do that. But I don't know when it's fucking coming out. Whereas
True.
Final Fantasy 7, I think Final Fantasy 7 is in that beautiful place where it's 2 months away and we still don't know what the fuck they're playing at. We don't know what they're cooking over
There's
there.
also a lot of there's been a lot of buzz about this game in general since June.
Yeah,
Mm.
That being said, I'm voting for Hades.
Yes, you are.
of course it is. I'm voting for 7 Rebirth.
Mans knows what he likes, Ethan.
Well, no, I also do, and I also think it could win it, but I'm going
Yeah.
with the gamer hive mind brains are short and stupid. We go with what's closer. Because if we were talking about games that people are anticipated for forever, GTA 6 would be here, and so would Hollow Knight Silk Song. But we're not crazy, okay?
Hollow
We're not
Knight's never coming
crazy.
out, dude.
Well,
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
you would almost have a point, but also we've spent the past several years where games that don't even come out the following year have won this award.
Yeah,
yeah,
how
and I
many years in
100%.
a row was
Yeah,
Tears of the Kingdom on there?
yeah, but
Called
can't I
it Breath of the
yeah.
Wild
But
sequel.
Hunter, what are you expecting when we literally had a year where in like 2021 or whatever they were like, yeah, the most anticipated games are like Elden Ring, Zelda, and these were all games that like didn't have release dates yet. Like Elden Ring didn't have a release date for years, and it was there every single time. Whereas all of these, bar Hades, has a release date, and Hades is still technically 2024. This hasn't happened before, where we have a year like this where everything's basically got a locked date.
Yeah.
And that's because everyone's playing their cards close to their chest, because maybe next year, don't want to scare people, might be a quieter year for games. Maybe.
Mm.
Quieter than this year.
Definitely. But again, whereas 2018 was quieter than 2017, 2018 I think had the bigger hitters because we had fantastic games. We had Breath of the Wild, but we had Red Dead and God of War in 2018, which I think were made equal splashes to Breath of the Wild, and it was just big FUD right at the end of the year. And I think GTA will probably do the exact same next year if it makes it. We've got a couple to skip now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one? Oh, content creator of the year,
Content
guys.
creator.
Let me have a quick little gander at this little bugger right here, dude. I love content. I love creating. I don't know who Cypher or Spreen are. Actually, I think Cypher might be is he a COD person? He looks like a COD person. Quackity I've heard of, but I don't know. People make games, made that Roblox documentary, and I know Iron Mouse. I'll just be a normie and vote for Iron Mouse, dude. I love VTubers. I love VTubers. What can I say? Big VTuber man. I don't
Wait,
know
so a
anything.
documentary team got nominated this year?
People make games, yeah. They make a
That's cool.
documentary. Well, they make like investigations and stuff about the games industry.
Well, that's neat.
I voted for them.
That would be where my vote
I probably
goes,
should have voted for them
because
but they're not gonna
they're
win.
not a streamer, and I'm tired of this being the
Yeah,
streamer
I'm also
award.
like, why? How the fuck has Scott the Wars never been nominated for this? I still stand by that. Like,
Yeah.
he should have been nominated in 2020, but the fact that he still hasn't.
I don't know who this guy is, but Quackity's name is funny, so thumbs up for that.
Like I say, the only thing that I will give is like at least Iron Mouse. She does like a lot of stuff for charity. She has like immunodeficiency and stuff like that. So she's like
Okay.
so she actually like she didn't have a life, like her life was kind of in shambles before streaming, and she managed to find this career and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, that's really cool, and she's doing some good stuff with it. So that's
Well,
why I'm
that's
like,
cool, at
hey,
least.
that's actually a streamer that I can get behind for this kind of thing. Whereas a lot of the time it's just Call of Duty player number 62. And I'm like, I don't care for that. Best esports game.
Here's friend of other big streamer.
I love that's my favorite one where you're like, who? And it's like it's everybody knows his friend, and it's like, no, I don't. Best esports game. One day esports will be removed from this fucking award ceremony. I give it another 2 years, to be honest. I think Jeff has slowly realized that no one cares about the esports parts.
That it's the same games every year. Yeah.
Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, PUBG, Valorant. I'm fucking
Do they
voting
not
for
have their
Valorant.
own
It'll be
award show that
Valorant.
they can do? Like, surely there's an esports award thing that happens every year, right? Why has he gotta bother with this?
I think he did it 10 years ago because esports was riding that wave, and I think now it's just kind of stuck with it. And like I say, I think he'll drop it in a couple of years because I think he realizes nobody cares about this for the Game Awards.
I hope so. And somehow,
I
despite
think
my
Valorant will win
difficulties.
because Counter-Strike 2's had a bit of a rough launch, and all the other three are a bit from PUBG Mobile. Like, fucking hell, if that wins, like, bloody hell. PUBG Mobile didn't get voted for Mobile Game of the Year, but it got into esports. Fuck off, dude. Like, no. I'll go with Valorant. You guys
I'm
the
gonna
same?
take Valorant.
Hunter, you're the
I
most
wasn't
important
listening
vote.
to the options, to be honest.
They were PUBG Mobile. I've already changed pages. PUBG Mobile, Valorant, Counter-Strike 2,
Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2,
Dota
and League
2.
of Legends.
League of Legends will probably win because esports players are stupid and hate themselves. So,
And then are we done for up to Game of the Year?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Let me look at who has the funniest name then for best esports athlete real quick. Right. Faker, Zywoo, Demon One, Hydra, Ruler, and Imperial. Well, they all sound like dictators. So I'm gonna go for the guy that's Zywoo. He sounds like a Pokemon like cry, dude. There you go, perfect. Best esports team: Evil Geniuses, Fnatic, Gaming, Gladiators, JD Gaming, or Team Vitality. Gonna go with Evil Geniuses. That's the funniest name, Gotta go for the funniest. Best esports coach. Like that. Why is this a fucking category? No offense to any of these people that have been nominated. Why the fuck is this here? It's gonna get announced in the text in the corner.
I think
while
I
the fucking
heard
pre-show
someone else
announcements
talking
on.
about these games, talking about this whole ordeal, saying that one of these guys who got nominated didn't do any esports coaching.
Do you know which one it is? Because I'll vote.
Why'd you guys nominate me? what gives?
Which
I didn't
one is
do
it?
anything.
The Dave the Diver of esports.
Yeah. Best esports coach, I'm gonna give it to the person that has to deal with fucking League of Legends players because he's like fucking hell, he needs a fucking hero for that one, dude. Jeez, wept. Imagine that. Best esports event, dude. I Evo. That's the only one I know.
Thanks, bestie.
Yeah, I got you.
The annoying thing is Evo never wins this.
I know, but it's the
Right
only rep that the FGC gets.
And then I think the last one is Game of the Year. The recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. It's time for a war, ladies and gentlemen. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Mario Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I still stand by this. I, again, don't like the second half of Final Fantasy 16. The fact that Mario got a nomination over Final Fantasy 16 for this award is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I don't
I
understand.
haven't played Mario yet, but I'm inclined to agree.
It's more Mario, and Mario's good, but also, if you were to ask me, hey, even though you hated half of the story of Final Fantasy 16, would you rather play another good Mario game or a brilliant first half of a Final Fantasy? I'll take that Final Fantasy, please and thank you. Like, I think that Mario is here because of recency bias,
Yeah,
and I think
like,
it's stupid. And I want to
and
recount the vote.
yeah, and saying this as somebody who, like, potentially likes Resident Evil 4, like, I think it would have still been cool to nominate like Hi-Fi Rush or something instead of Resident Evil,
Yeah.
because Resident Evil 4 is a great game. It was already one of the best games ever, and they did it again.
Yeah.
My point is more so that maybe we should celebrate something new.
Mhm.
I think my problem here is, and I think people have noticed this too more than in other years, especially without the indie rep that we usually get, or the smaller game rep, is this is just which sequel's the
Sequels.
best. There's not. That's why I'm like, yeah, haha, clown. We all joked about Starfield, you stupid goofy goober. I would have rather have had Starfield on here because at least it's a new IP. Like I want some
To
evidence
be
of
fair to
new.
Baldur's Gate, it's not here because it's a sequel to the other two.
No,
Yeah.
and let's be real here. I don't think Alan Wake 2 is also here because it's a
Yeah.
sequel to Alan Wake. Well, actually, it might because critics are crazy, right? Then they do love the original Alan Wake, but it's a great game in its own right, and all these games are great in their own right. But I also am kind of like, this is kind of represents 2023 is an absolutely brilliant year for games. It was, but I also can't help but feel that the only reason that this year was such a brilliant year for games was because it was just the year that ended up being where all the anticipated sequels to games we've been waiting for all chimed in on this year.
Yeah.
Because in terms of original IP, other than in the indie space and in smaller projects like Hi-Fi Rush, we've been really lacking. And it's like, man, it's like when we've talked about this a million times when we look at Sony's portfolio at the moment, and it's just like, oh, every studio is just making a sequel to a game they've already made in the past. And you're just like, oh, that fucking kind of sucks. And you just got to hope that Bend is making something good. And like, oh, well, maybe we'll hope for the best. But it's like, man, I would have loved if Starfield got on here. I would have loved it if Hi-Fi Rush especially got on here. I would have loved it if Final Fantasy 16 would have been on here, because even though it's a numbered entry in the franchise, at least Final Fantasy's a standalone. So it's like, at least it's
Yeah.
like, hey, it's a brand new story in the Final, and it's a good Final Fantasy.
It was doing something different.
It's doing something different. I mean, I can make, like I say, I can make arguments for a lot of things. It's like in my, even Spider-Man 2. I'm like, Spider-Man 2 is a great game, but also I'd swap Hi-Fi Rush out for it in a heartbeat because it just is something new. I'd like that. It's between Baldur's Gate and Zelda, and I think, but like we've had this conversation for 6 bajillion times this year on this podcast so far. I'm voting for Zelda because it's probably my game of the year. But I think Baldur's Gate 3 will win on the same premise of last year, but of Elden Ring versus God of War. Of God of War has already won, and it's a sequel. Same here. Zelda already has won, and it is basically another Breath of the Wild, which is great. It's fantastic. It's one of the best games ever made. But Baldur's Gate 3 feels fresh and new, and is also equally good.
Mhm.
I don't know. How
Yeah,
you
I'm
guys
pretty
are
much in
feeling.
the same boat as you for taking Baldur's Gate. It does
Mm.
like it doesn't feel like there's another game on the market that does what Baldur's Gate does. And it definitely like lit a spark back into the RPG genre. It feels like it helped bring the role playing back into role playing games instead of just you're following some character's story. Feels like you're kind of following your own story
And
and
don't get
you're
me wrong,
making the
I'm like
journey along the way.
in any other year, even if we like in any other year, I think Tears of the Kingdom would hands down win Game of the Year in any other year.
Oh, yeah.
Very easily. But like I say, I just think it is because Zelda is more Zelda, and it's brilliant, and it's fantastic, and it's better than Breath of the Wild, and it's an amazing game. But it is just more Zelda, whereas Baldur's Gate 3, again, is kind of standing on its own because one, not that many people played Baldur's Gate in the past before Baldur's Gate 3. This is a big jumping on point for a lot of people. And also, there hasn't been a Baldur's Gate in a very long time, so it feels like a massive leap, right? Whereas Zelda is just kind of, we always joked about, oh, they just chucked Skylands on the top of the map, but it is still the same engine, it's the same words, it's just making more of it. Hunter, how are you feeling?
Oh,
I know it's like picking your children here.
I'm gonna
but
pick Zelda.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
do the typical Hunter play here, where I'll pick the one I like more, even if it's probably wrong.
Respect.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, gotta go with your gut, man. Gotta go with your gut. If you're feeling it, you're feeling it, you know?
Yeah.
But there you go. That's all of our, I believe that's it. Are we done? Is that all of our things?
Yeah.
It is. We've got a full table, baby. You love to see it. Which leads us onto the final part of the show. As we always like to do with our nominations, obviously Jeff has, unfortunately, I'm so sorry to report, has gotten rid of the world premiere from every trailer that we will see next week. They'll just unfortunately be just trailers, guys. I'm sorry, they're not world premieres anymore. They're just trailers, but we're still going to get announcements and stuff like that. So I'll throw it to the audience, and by throwing it to the audience, I mean I'll throw it to Hunter because we know what Cal's like, and Cal's just here for the vibes. Hunter, do you have
True.
any predictions? I have a couple, but
I've got a couple kicking around here. I guess
Go
the
for
first
it.
one I'll say is I think it's very likely that we see a trailer for a new Monster Hunter game here.
Oh, I didn't have that one.
Yeah, because
Is that the? Are you
Capcom.
assuming that's the Capcom game that
Yeah,
they're
like
not wanting to talk about for some reason, but they
I
keep
don't
saying
think
there's
it's
one's coming
Resident
out?
Evil. I don't think it's a new Resident Evil yet, and Monster Hunter. It's going to be more like Monster Hunter World than it was the ones on the Switch. And
Well, yeah,
Monster
it's
Hunter
definitely not
World.
Resident Evil, even though they've just come out and said more Resident Evil remakes are on the way, which is always a fun time because now everyone's going, "Ooh, which one will it be?"
Well, the fact that they
There's only
insist on
like 2 to choose from.
No, I think you severely doubt what they would do, Kyle. I think there's
I feel like we're at a stage now where Capcom's just gonna remake every game in the canon.
yeah,
Yeah.
I also agree. I think it's a choice between 0, 1, Code Veronica, and 5. I think that those are the four that
I
you're
think the
looking
two
at.
actual choice, like those are possible. I think it's mostly between 5 and Veronica.
Yeah.
I also agree.
And if they do Veronica, then I think they'll do 0 or 1 before they get to 5.
I think they're more than yeah. I think them. Well, I think they want to set up Wesker a bit before they
Yeah,
do
seeing as
5. Because
how
if you're just playing the remakes, if you're somebody who has not played the originals, and you'll literally
you
be
don't
like,
know him yet.
you don't know him. You'll just see that guy at the end of 4 remake, and you'll be like, "Who the fuck are you, mate?" I
He's a
know.
bit more prominent in Ada's DLC than he was in Ada's
Yeah, he
actual
is.
story originally.
Yeah,
But
but most
you
of the
know,
normies will be like either I don't know who you are, or is that the guy from Dead by Daylight? Like that's what they're going to be like, and it's like you
yeah,
can't have that going into Resident Evil 5, dude. You can't have that.
yeah.
It's kind of
So
it's kind of the culmination of the original story in a way before 6 did 6, right? But it's the end of all of that. But yeah, I agree with Hunter. I think they'll 100% remake all 4 of those at some point.
yeah.
People, I love how people are like, no, they're not going to remake Resident Evil 1. I'm like, they absolutely are going to remake Resident Evil 1 at some point. They are 100% going to do it again in the modern style. It's Capcom. They like money.
They sure do.
They do. It hasn't
My
stopped
first
working
one,
yet.
I'm trying to pick, I don't know. Do I want to pick something that you don't have?
Oh, I'm shooting from the hip here. So
Are you
like,
shooting from the hip? Okay.
yeah,
I think we get a Hellblade 2 release date from Xbox.
that seems likely.
Mm.
It's supposed to come out sometime next year,
And
and
Phil Spencer
they
said
like
this
showing this
week
game
that
at
it's
the Game
coming
Awards.
very soon. So I think it'll be first half of next year.
Oh, that's exciting.
So yeah, I think you'll definitely see that. I think that's what Xbox is showing up with, to be honest. They've said they're showing up with something. I believe that's it. I also think from Sony, I think you will get the BFF special of a Death Stranding 2 trailer from Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, that's likely as well.
I will
Because
also say that I have
he
no
already
clue.
loves
I
Kojima.
think it's interesting. Death Stranding's in such a weird place where we don't even know what stage of development they're even in with
I
Death
have no
Stranding 2.
idea. It could be nearly done.
I think it's just as likely that we get another teaser trailer as we do get a more gameplay focused thing and a year on it. I think we've got like an equal chance of either because it's Kojima. You don't know what's happening.
I feel like we could get a teaser that also has the year on it as well, rather than
I
like
I feel like it's crazy, but
gameplay is
also
irregardless of.
Death Stranding was 2019. I think there is
Yeah,
still a very, I don't want to say it's a high possibility, but I think there's a strong possibility that it could release next year.
it's possible.
I think there's a higher
PlayStation
chance
might.
of Death Stranding 2 releasing next year than Wolverine. I'll
Yeah,
say that outright.
someone's got to say if PlayStation's a single player prospects next year.
It's not going to be anyone else. It's definitely not going to be Naughty Dog. I can tell you that much. Uh, we talked about it a little bit earlier, and considering some of the comments that were made by Square this week, I think you'll get a DLC teaser or trailer for Final Fantasy 16. I think you will see the first little glimpse into that. It sounds like they're ready to show things, which is
Yeah.
always scary. Let's
Oh,
hope they
no.
don't do a 15 and announce them both and then only release one of them and go, oopsie, we're not doing that second one, Lamau.
They say on a stream of the anniversary
I
of
still
the
think it's
game.
so funny to go, let's have a
Oh my God.
celebratory live stream where we cancel all the remaining DLC and walk
That's
into the sunset,
hilarious.
guys. It's really
My
funny.
God.
It'll be good fun. Don't worry, guys. We'll send them off to make Forspoken. It'll all be good. Don't worry about it.
If some of this other stuff happens, I don't think this one will, but I don't think the possibility is non-existent that we see a Wolverine thing here.
See, I don't think we see a Wolverine thing. I still think it's a bit too early. I'm also of the belief that I also think there's a very high chance that they haven't announced anything yet, but they have not flat out denied it. Like, you know how the Zelda team flat out denied DLC for The Legend of Zelda from the get-go.
Yeah.
Spider-Man has been very much the Spider-Man team has very much been like, we're working on New Game Plus at the moment. We have nothing else to share, which screams to me that you might get a Spider-Man DLC next year. Which might tide everybody over for Wolverine in 2025.
Maybe. You think it'd be about Venom, or you think it'd be something similar to?
No, I think people were bang on the money when people noticed that some of the thing like to do with God fucking I can't remember his name now. I'm blanking on no Matt Murdock
Craven the
fucking
Hunter.
Daredevil.
Oh, Daredevil.
There was a load of things where they'd taken signs down and it was closed for business, and then they, in a hot fix, patched it back in so it looked normal. And I was like, that sounds to me like you were working on DLC things and accidentally changed assets in the
A
main
Daredevil
game.
side story would be cool. I'd be down with that. I'd be more inclined to play that than I was the rest of the DLC for the first one that I didn't play.
So I think that that's a possibility. Like I say, I think Death Stranding is probably all you'll get from Sony. Sony only really likes to do a one and done at these shows. They don't really like to show too much that isn't their own. And I think if you do get anything else, it'll be something like Stellar Blade or something, where it's just like something that they're publishing but they're not deving, so they'll just chuck something out. Because I think that game was supposed to be out this year and then it got pushed to next, and so I wouldn't be surprised. Helldivers might get a trailer, but I don't think anyone cares. If we don't get a 16 DLC trailer, I can guarantee Square will be there with a Final Fantasy trailer for 7 that no one needs, because they love doing that. They love showing way too much of a video game.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably more
That
likely
tracks.
because they should when it's the game in question's turn, they always show way too much.
It's true. Yeah.
Like we could have used like 5 fewer FF16 trailers than we got.
Yeah.
Definitely. I agree. Here's one that I put down because it's a game that is still supposed to come out next year, and I feel like it is it is a big enough name for to garner some attention, but a small enough game that it makes sense for it to be at the Game Awards. The Wolf Among Us Season 2, I think if that's coming out next year, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a trailer for that. Because the last we ever heard of it was at the start of this year saying, Lamau, see you next year, boys. JK, no 2023. So that would make sense. And I've been saying it all year, and I don't believe it in the fucking slightest, because this game has vanished. We have talked about it's never coming out. But I've said it all year that if it's going to show up anywhere this year, Hollow Knight Silksong will show up at the Game Awards. So, I know when I'm saying this, I mean it gets a date in 2024 and it's delayed. It still hasn't technically been delayed out of this year yet.
Oh yeah, like if it gets a date, oh my god, it'd be insane if they were like, "Oh, we're done, put it out.
We're finally
in the
done.
last
See
couple
you in
weeks of
May."
the year."
Yeah, but I think that's one of those kind of. Again, like I say, if it's going to show up anywhere in the next little while, it would be Game Awards. People always go, "Oh, indie showcase." I'm like, no, it's way too big for an indie showcase.
It's bigger than that now. It's like how Hades wouldn't show up at one of those anymore.
No, unless it was getting a Switch release after the full game's out, something weird like that. And even then, I think they'd save it for a main direct.
Do you think that Crash Bandicoot in some form or fashion makes an appearance? At this
my
show?
one copium, Spyro 4, gets teased. Here's the thing. I don't think it is possible for a company to be stupid enough to release a brand new season of Crash Team Rumble, for it to be Spyro themed, for it to be released on the day of the Game Awards, and then for Jeff to be tweeting them out with eye emojis and all that shit, and for there not to be something there. So if it might be just a Crash Team Rumble trailer, and I fucking shoot myself in Minecraft in fucking.
There's another threat of war crime there.
That will be a war crime, and I will fucking scream. But I don't think that Activision marketing could be stupid enough to set all of this up in a way that it would work perfectly for even just a small tease to say, hey, something's coming. Because the Activision's always there for Crash. Like, literally, every year, Rumble announced there. Crash, CTR was initially announced there. It's like, they've done a lot of stuff at the Game Awards before. It wouldn't surprise me, but also it's my copium, because it makes too much sense, but it also makes so much sense for Activision to be doing all that and then just give you the big middle finger and fucking laugh at the fucking bank because it's Activision. I think I'm pretty certain that Nintendo will not show up in any way, shape, or form other than doing the little ads in the breaks where it's like Nintendo Switch has games, and it's like shows Animal Crossing for the 60,000th time.
There's not really anything big coming from Nintendo that's on the board yet.
No, and they like to play by their own rules. They're not going to do an Xbox where they show the new design for their next console early at the Game Awards for no reason, right? There's no reason for them to do that.
Like Metroid 4 doesn't exist, and if it did, I don't think it would be here.
No. I mean,
this is one that's more on the hopeful side of things, pivoting away from Nintendo. I could foresee maybe the Plucky Squire showing up here maybe in the pre-show even, but one of those.
Yeah.
With a date, since it was supposed to come out this year. But
I also wouldn't be surprised if you just I wouldn't be surprised if you get your generics, right? Like a Gearbox showing up and showing what's next for Borderlands or something like that, where it's like something that I know we don't care about and probably Borderlands fans don't care about, but Randy Pitchford is always there doing his shitty magic tricks going, wow, look, we've made Borderlands again for the 16th time and we're going to sell it for the fucking, what a magic trick, same game, 16th time.
Because there's always Warhammer and...
Yeah. Be at least that.
Well.
I guess the final thing to guess is... obviously, Hunter, we have a tradition now, it seems, at the show to have war crime counter, which is essentially, if you're new here, we watch the show, and if there's anything particularly egregious that happens, we make a note of it and we will report on it next week, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction for how many war crimes there'll be next week?
8.
8. Okay, that's
I was
pretty...
also thinking 8.
I was also
I was
thinking...
I was
I was around
like
that, around that. Yeah.
mulling it over. I'm like, I don't know how many we dinged him for last year, but it wasn't double digits yet. I don't think it'll
It
quite
was
be double
no,
digits.
he was pretty good last year, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. We do actually have a war crime counter last year.
Because this
In
is
fact, they
how
were
it
only
started.
hate
We just
crimes. We've
yelled it
actually
out.
upped them since. I don't remember which
Oh.
event we upped them to. They were only hate crimes originally. I think we said hate crimes because I was too scared to say war crimes. But I think we've upped
Well,
it.
yeah, and then I
think it's
decided
fine.
maybe 3 white dudes saying hate crimes wasn't a great idea.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, I think it's funny because like if people like I know most if you've got to this point in the podcast, you probably listen to a lot of this stuff. If you know who we're like, it's like the idea of any of us hate crimes is like we're just most passive people on the fucking planet anyway. So it's like yeah, it's just like just seems funny. But yeah, there was a ninja ad. They showed June, that was right. They showed that Dune thing. That was stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Vape ads, that was cringe.
Oh.
A Samsung phone. Warhammer before Wumper League, for fuck's sake, Jeff. And then right after that, we then put Crash Team Rumble as a crime after it was announced.
Nice.
Which is funny. Jeff
I do
Keighley
like that
can't
you went
wait
from
to play.
Wumpa League to Crash Team Rumble because I think that's when we learned what it was actually
What it was called, yeah, because it was still Wumper League up until that point. I don't, yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, plenty of stuff. So it was only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was only like 6 or 7 last year. So maybe it'll be higher this year. We'll have to find out.
Yeah.
I like to say, I think in terms of that's like all the predictions I had really. My big copium Spyro 4, and the rest of them I think are relatively reasonable.
Oh, also, 24 minutes and 18 seconds of ad time.
Okay, you can count that on your own time.
Yep.
But
Hold
yeah,
on, Ethan, how many war crimes do you think there's going to be?
you guys said 8, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 9 just to spice it up.
Good old prices.
I think there'll be one extra June trailer.
I was between 8 and 9. I'm like, he's not hitting double digits yet, but he's only barely not going to hit double digits.
I think I think more than likely you're gonna get more reveals this year than you are gonna get. Like, I think there'll be more stuff that you're like, oh, I've never heard of that before. That gets shown at the Game Awards this year. Because, like I say, a lot of next year is kind of a blank slate, other than the first couple of months. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. But anyway, regardless, there you have it, everybody. That is our Game Awards predictions. Spectacular. These always go on for forever, but I think we've done good time. We've done it in good time. It's like 30 odd categories, so it always takes a while. But there we go. Be sure to join us next week.
Still half the time of the award show.
Yeah, Jeff, we've done it for you, mate.
Twice as entertaining.
Yeah, but we don't have.
We even had a random person walk on stage to join us.
It's on brand.
Our
Oh, do you think
security's
that
just as
happens
good as
this year?
Jeff's, dude. Our security's just as good as Jeff's.
How many people get tasered trying to approach the stage this year?
God,
Yeah.
hopefully nobody.
Anyway. Oh dear. Link's on screen right now. Yeah, I'm gonna predict that nobody gets on stage this year. I think Jeff will have beefed up security a bit. Especially because it happened to him at opening night live and no one shows up to opening night live. So the fact that the one person that showed up
Yeah.
actually walked on stage is like fucking great, yeah. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, you'll have to come to us next week because it's going to be a big week next week. So next week you can look forward to our Game Awards review. Was it good? Was it bad? You'll find out next week. You'll also, I guess, because it comes out the day after the podcast, GTA 6's trailer will be out. There will be GTA 6 will finally be real after a decade, so that'll be interesting. I'll at least have some impressions on that because I'm sure I'll watch that trailer quite a bit. Will it be 2024? That's the question. I'm thinking yes, because I still remember that earnings report they put out earlier this year where they were like, we're expecting our revenue to increase by 300% in the final quarter of 2024 or something. I'm like, okay, that screams GTA to me.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of other little bits and pieces that are happening all around next week. It's probably the final big week for news of the year. So if anything's going to come out, it'll probably be around the Game Awards. So we'll talk all about that next week. And yeah, I guess that's it, unless you two have anything else to add.
Nope.
Cool then, right then. Well, we'll see you next week, I guess. We'll be all refreshed and ready to go. Game Awards will be fun, I'm sure. Like I say, don't have to go to work this time, so I'll be a lot more positive probably by the end of it. But we'll see. It'll be fun. But yeah, we'll see you next week for all of that good stuff. But until then, have an awesome rest of your week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.